Sarah Martinez walked into Thompson's gun store on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, her military boots leaving soft, damp prints on the polished floor. At 22, she looked even younger, her baby face and slender frame masking the strength and discipline honed through years of service. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, her gray hoodie concealing the lean muscle earned from long deployments. The store was busy, the clinking of metal, the low hum of conversation, and the scent of gun oil thick in the air. Behind the glass cases, rows of rifles and pistols gleamed under fluorescent light. Sarah stepped up to the counter where two middle-aged men were chatting with a clerk. She waited quietly, hands clasped behind her back, a reflex from her military training. When the clerk, a stocky man with graying hair named Bob, finally looked up, he barely glanced her way. "Can I help you, miss?" he asked, his tone dripping with doubt. "I'd like to purchase a Glock 19, please," Sarah said clearly. "I have my identification and all the necessary paperwork." Bob paused, pen midair, eyebrows raised. The two men beside her turned and smirked. One of them chuckled. "You sure you're in the right place, sweetheart? This isn't a toy store," Bob said. "These are real firearms." Sarah's cheeks warmed, but her voice stayed calm. "Yes, sir. I'm aware. I've been properly trained in firearm safety and handling. I'd like to see the Glock 19, please." The taller customer, flannel shirt, baseball cap, grinned. "Kids these days think they can just walk in and buy guns like candy," he muttered to his friend. "Probably saw it in some video game." Bob nodded toward a rack of pepper spray near the door. "Maybe start smaller, little lady. Guns are serious business." Sarah's jaw tightened. "Sir, I understand the responsibilities involved. I've completed all required training and background checks. I simply want to purchase a Glock 19. The second man, mustache thick as a broom, laughed. "Training courses. What, a weekend class at community college? Honey, some of us were shooting before you were born." Bob leaned forward, folding his arms. "Tell you what, why don't you come back with your dad or your boyfriend? Maybe they can help you figure this out." That one stung, not because it was new, but because it was so familiar. She'd heard the same tone before, the subtle mockery of those who assumed she needed protection. But she stood firm. "I don't need anyone else to make this purchase," she said evenly. "I'm a legal adult with valid identification and the means to complete this transaction." The bell above the door chimed as more customers entered. The rain pattered harder against the windows. Bob sighed, clearly annoyed. "Look, I'm trying to do you a favor," he said, his voice rising for the room to hear. "Guns aren't fashion accessories. They require maturity and experience, not attitude." The men beside her smirked again, nodding in approval. Their conversation became background noise, judgment disguised as laughter. Sarah inhaled slowly. She'd faced worse. She had endured enemy fire, saved lives under pressure, and trained soldiers twice her age in combat readiness. Yet here she was, in her own hometown, being treated like a naive child. She thought of the weapons she'd carried overseas, far more advanced than a simple Glock. The irony was sharp enough to hurt. When Bob gestured toward her again, raising his voice for the crowd, the air seemed to thicken. "You see this?" he said loudly. "This is what's wrong with our world. People think they can just demand guns without understanding what they're for." Laughter rippled through the room. "Back in my day," one man called out, "you had to earn that right." Sarah's hands clenched, then relaxed. Losing her temper would only prove them right. Instead, she reached into her back pocket and pulled out her wallet. "Perhaps if you saw my credentials," she said calmly, sliding her military ID across the counter. Bob looked at it briefly and snorted. "Military ID, huh? Let me guess, you were a cook or a clerk. Maybe supplies." He pushed it back toward her. "Doesn't mean you know how to handle a civilian firearm, sweetheart." The assumption hit harder than expected, but Sarah's tone stayed steady. "Actually," she said, locking eyes with him, "I served 3 tours in Afghanistan. I trained over 40 soldiers in firearm handling and combat readiness. I've fired weapons most civilians will never even see. So yes, I understand what I'm asking for." The room went silent. The smirks faded. Even the rain seemed to hush. Bob blinked, his posture shifting slightly, the bravado draining from his face. One of the customers swallowed hard, realizing just how wrong they'd been. Sarah picked up her ID, slid it back into her wallet, and straightened her shoulders. "Now," she said softly, "about that Glock 19. The clerk cleared his throat and nodded awkwardly. "Right away, ma'am." As he unlocked the case and carefully placed the pistol on the counter, the onlookers stepped back. Respect, the kind earned, not demanded, filled the quiet space between them. Sarah examined the weapon with professional ease, her movements precise and confident. For the first time that afternoon, nobody doubted she belonged there. Moments like these define classified courage, the unseen strength it takes to stay composed in the face of ignorance, to fight silent battles with dignity rather than rage. Sarah Martinez stood perfectly still as Bob's dismissive words cut through the air. "Look, honey," he interrupted, holding up his hand, "I don't care what you did over there. This is America, and we have different rules here. Real rules about who should and shouldn't be carrying firearms." A few customers had gathered now, drawn by the tension. Some watched with curiosity, others nodded in agreement. Near the rifle display, an elderly woman shook her head softly, pity in her eyes, as if Sarah's belief in her own capability was some kind of sad illusion. The man in the flannel shirt picked up Sarah's military ID from the counter, glanced at it briefly, and handed it back with a smirk. "Marine Corps, huh? Well, that explains the attitude. But being a Marine doesn't automatically make you qualified for civilian gun ownership, little girl." Sarah's eye twitched at the phrase, "little girl," but she forced her breathing steady. "Sir, I've completed extensive firearms training that goes far beyond civilian requirements. I've been handling." Bob cut her off with a harsh laugh. "What kind of training? How to clean latrines and follow orders? Listen, sweetheart, maybe the military lowered their standards to let anyone in, but I run a respectable business here." The insult hit like a physical blow. Not because it was new, but because of what it represented. She'd watched friends die in combat, dragged wounded Marines to safety under fire, made decisions that determined who lived and who didn't. And now, here she was, being lectured about maturity by men who had never faced anything more dangerous than a bad Yelp review. "You know what your problem is," the man with the mustache added, jabbing a finger at her. "You young people think you're entitled to everything. You think wearing a uniform for a couple of years makes you special." Sarah's military discipline took over. Years of training told her to stay calm, even as the fire inside her built. Patience, she reminded herself, sometimes felt like swallowing broken glass. The store grew quieter now. Conversations had stopped. Every customer was watching. Some looked uncomfortable. Others were clearly enjoying the spectacle. "Perhaps we could discuss this privately," Sarah said evenly, her voice calm but resolute. "Oh no," Bob replied, shaking his head with a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "I think everyone here deserves to understand why we can't just sell guns to anyone who walks in off the street. This is a teachable moment." The humiliation was now public, and complete. Sarah stood at the counter, surrounded by smirks and whispered laughter. And then came the sound that changed everything. Footsteps, heavy, deliberate, echoed from the back office. The kind of steps that carried purpose. Authority. Bob was still talking, basking in the attention. "You see, folks, this is why experience matters. Guns aren't toys or props for people trying to look tough." A new voice cut through his monologue like a blade. "What exactly is going on here?" The tone was steady, older, commanding. It silenced the room instantly. The crowd parted slightly, and Sarah saw a man in his 60s standing behind them. Silver hair, weathered features, eyes sharp and assessing. He wore simple jeans and a button-down shirt, but his presence alone commanded respect. Bob stiffened. Mr. Thompson," he stammered. "I was just explaining to this young lady that we have standards here. She wants to buy a Glock, but I don't think she understands." "I didn't ask what you think," Thompson interrupted, his voice calm but edged with quiet authority. "I asked what's going on." His gaze moved from Bob, to the customers, and finally to Sarah. When their eyes met, something flickered, recognition, perhaps, or understanding. "Sir," Sarah said softly, stepping forward. "I came to purchase a Glock 19. I have all proper identification and documentation." But your employee seems to believe I'm not qualified to make this purchase. Thompson nodded slowly, studying her posture, the precision in her speech, the natural discipline that showed even in stillness. May I see your identification? He asked. Sarah handed him her military ID. This time, someone actually looked. Thompson read the card carefully. His brows furrowed, then lifted slightly. The store fell silent. Bob shifted nervously. The customers who had mocked her suddenly found reasons to look anywhere but her direction. Thompson handed the ID back, his tone now completely different. Sergeant Martinez, he said, using her rank. 1st Marine Division. Yes, sir, Sarah replied instinctively. 3 tours in Afghanistan. Combat deployment with special operations. The words hung in the air like a verdict. Bob's face drained of color. The man in the flannel shirt swallowed hard. Even the woman near the rifles lowered her gaze. Thompson wasn't finished. His eyes traced the small scars on Sarah's hands, the calm way she stood, the unconscious way she scanned exits and sightlines. Combat action ribbon, he murmured. Purple heart. Bronze star with V for Valor. No one spoke. The silence was heavy, reverent. Thompson nodded once, a gesture of respect. Sergeant, thank you for your service. I believe you'll find the Glock 19 a fine choice. Sarah inclined her head slightly. Thank you, sir. Bob stepped aside without another word. The 2 customers retreated toward the back of the store, shame written across their faces. As Sarah completed the transaction, Thompson gave her a respectful nod. Not everyone understands the weight of service, he said quietly. But some of us still do. Sarah gave a small, grateful smile. Understood, sir. As she walked toward the exit, the sound of rain filled the silence she left behind. Moments like this define what we call classified courage, the kind of strength that doesn't shout, but stands its ground, calm and unshakable, even when the world refuses to see it.